Today's episode, 1950s Contactee Truman Bethurum, the Highwayman and the Clarion Queen, Truman Bethurum's Mojave Encounter. If George Adamski represented the scientific mystic and Orfeo Angelucci the theological visionary, Truman Bethurum proudly represented the blue-collar, everyday working man of the 1950s Contactee movement. A highway maintenance worker sweating it out in the sun-baked dust of Nevada. Bethurum's story stands as one of the most delightfully colorful, deeply quirky, and aggressively bizarre chapters in UFO folklore. While other contactees were out gazing at nebulae or pondering the infinite fabric of consciousness, Bethurum was out in the desert chatting with a stylish spacefaring queen from a hidden planet. His claim to fame centered on a series of close encounters beginning on July 27, 1952. While working a road construction crew near Mormon Mesa, Nevada, Bethurum found himself face-to-face with a silent metallic craft that looked suspiciously like a giant hovering hubcap. Bethurum didn't just spot a distant light in the sky. He walked right up and met the crew. He described them as small, human-like men who looked remarkably neat and orderly. But the undeniable star of his show, and the centerpiece of his entire narrative, was their commanding officer, a charismatic female captain named Aura Rhanes, who allegedly hailed from a secret counter-Earth planet called Clarion, which supposedly hid directly behind the sun, laughing away all our astronomers' best efforts. Instead of describing a terrifying gray extraterrestrial with black almond eyes, Bethurum talked about Aura Rhanes the way a proud local might describe a visiting Hollywood dignitary. He portrayed her as petite, drop-dead gorgeous, and exceptionally well-dressed, sporting a charming personality and a disarming, quick-witted sense of humor. His account was refreshingly, almost hilariously human. While the U.S. Air Force was sweating bullets over the Cold War and flying saucers threatening national airspace, Truman Bethurum was standing in the middle of the Nevada desert, completely captivated by an alien captain's outfit, her accessories, and her sparkling table-side banter. It turns out that when the Cosmos finally decided to make first contact with America's working class, they didn't send an abstract quantum equation. They sent a chic queen from Clarion with impeccable fashion sense and time to kill. The most delightfully absurd and enduring element of Truman Bethurum's lore wasn't just his stylish space captain, it was her home address, Clarion. Bethurum insisted that Clarion was a fully functioning planet sharing Earth's exact orbit, parked directly on the opposite side of the sun. Because of this orbital hack, it was perpetually hidden from our view. It was a classic piece of DIY backyard astronomy fan fiction that completely bypassed the laws of celestial mechanics. Mid-century enthusiasts loved it because it implied that astronomers were just lazy, missing an entire planetary neighbor because they hadn't bothered to check behind the sun, like looking for car keys under the couch. According to Bethurum, Clarion was a utopian paradise, an advanced, peaceful civilization that had completely sorted out all the things Earth was still crying about. Aura Rhanes and her crew were now conquering galaxies. They were basically interstellar tourists shaking their heads at our terrible life choices. They routinely visited Earth just to observe our messy progress, expressing utter bewilderment as to why humanity stubbornly chose war, pollution, and greed when a harmonious, well-tailored life on Clarion was clearly so much easier. It turns out that according to the space Q from Clarion, humanity was the messy roommate of the solar system, refusing to do the dishes while the neighbors watched in silent, stylish disbelief. Aura Rhanes didn't just drop by the Nevada desert. She practically drop-kicked her way into becoming an overnight sensation across the 1950s UFO community. While other contactees were wrestling with stern, booming voices from the void, Aura represented a much softer, sharper, and infinitely more fashionable face of the Space Brothers movement. Bethurum didn't describe his alien encounters as terrifying abductions or clinical medical exams. Instead, he painted Aura as an intellectual powerhouse. She would casually sit down with a Nevada highway worker and drop deep, articulate critiques on global politics, human technology, and the chaotic state of Earth's civilization. Imagine being a tired guy patching asphalt in the desert heat, only to have a chic interstellar executive pull up in a saucer and give you a masterclass in sociology. In an era where mainstream culture and most UFO lore depicted cosmic leaders as stern, patriarchal, gray-haired cosmic daddies issuing ominous warnings. Aura Rhanes was a total plot twist. She was a female commander running her own interplanetary crew, with absolute authority, elegance, and grace. Long before modern corporate boardrooms or sci-fi franchises started featuring empowered women at the helm, the UFO Contactee movement had Aura Rhanes casually out-managing the entire solar system in a stylish outfit. She gave mid-century followers a glimpse of a balanced, enlightened leadership style, proving that if humanity ever wanted to graduate to the cosmic big leagues, we were going to need fewer warlords and a lot more fierce, well-dressed captains from behind the sun. Aboard a Flying Saucer, the memoir that rocked Nevada roadwork. Capitalizing on all the desert gossip and saucer buzz, Truman Bethurum decided to strike while the iron, or the hubcap, was hot, publishing Aboard a Flying Saucer in 1954. Unsurprisingly, the book was an absolute sensation, detailing his multiple encounters with Aura Rhanes and her tidy, saucer-flying crew from Clarion. Predictably, the book triggered a thermonuclear storm of criticism. Mainstream scientists and hard-nosed ufologists pointed and laughed, noting that hiding an entire, fully functioning planet directly behind the sun was roughly as scientifically plausible as hiding an elephant behind a lamppost. But the public ate it up. Bethurum instantly became a darling of the lecture circuit and a regular on late-night radio. What made Bethurum so magnetic wasn't high-tech jargon. It was his utter lack of pretension. He remained a humble, flannel-wearing highway worker, telling stories of intergalactic wonder, with the earnest charm of a guy recounting a weird day at a rest stop. Even if his orbital math was completely fried, his down-to-earth delivery made people think, hey, if a guy patching potholes in Nevada can't grab a coffee with a space queen, maybe the universe isn't so boring after all. Truman Bethurum's ultimate contribution to the Contactee movement wasn't his astrophysics, seeing as his entire planetary model relied on playing intergalactic hide and seek directly behind the sun. Instead, his legacy was the total normalization of the alien visitor. By stripping away the cold, terrifying military jargon and the Cold War panic of the Pentagon, Bethurum dragged the flying saucer right out of the radar scope and parked it on a dusty Nevada highway, next to a construction cone. He proved that for the average, everyday American, a UFO encounter didn't have to be a bureaucratic nightmare or a terrifying government conspiracy. It could be an invitation to dream of better possibilities, or at least a chance to chat with a stylish interstellar CEO. While critics rolled their eyes at the mythical paradise of Clarion, Bethurum left behind a brilliant, delightfully eccentric time capsule of 1950s optimism. He told a story of a charismatic queen from a hidden world, offering a window into a universe that wasn't just vast and deeply mysterious, but also strangely, comfortingly, and hilariously human. What is Clarion up to these days? So where does that leave poor old Clarion? If you check modern orbital mechanics, deep space probes, and NASA's latest star charts, that hidden counter-Earth parked right behind the sun is still remarkably absent from our neighborhood. Modern astronomers have mapped out every square inch of our solar system with high-powered satellites, and sadly for mid-century highway workers, there is no utopian, traffic-free paradise hiding in the cosmic blind spot. The contrast between then and now is hilarious. Back in the 1950s, a guy could hang out in the Nevada desert, invent a secret hidden planet behind the sun, fall in love with an impossibly stylish space captain named Aura Rhanes, write a book about it, and become a beloved circuit lecturer. Today, if you tried to claim a chic extraterrestrial CEO was parking her saucer on a highway worksite, TikTok would fact-check you in 3 seconds, demand high-def video footage, and ask what kind of filter you were using. Yet, even if Clarion isn't paying rent behind the sun, its legacy lives on. While today's UFO discourse is heavily bogged down in military whistleblower hearings, Senate intelligence committees, and high-tech sensor data, Truman Bethurum's quaint little tale reminds us of a simpler time. It was an era when the cosmos felt like an open highway, and humanity preferred to imagine that the universe wasn't governed by stealth jets and radar locks, but by impeccably dressed space queens with a sharp sense of humor and a lot of patience for our pothole-ridden planet. To be continued. Watch and listen. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Listen to the full podcast now. Explore the archive Cosmic Awakening Volume 1, 1991, Peru, Journey into the Unknown. Sacred Valley of the Incas. Volume 2, Ascension 2012, The Golden Alchemy. Part 3, The First Contact and the Paranormal State. Join the journey. New episodes drop periodically. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 10 to 30-minute exploration into the evolution of ufology, perfect for your daily plunge into decoding hidden messages from outer space, designed to raise awareness and foster human evolution. Subscribe to support your inner development. Thumbs up to help push our channel through the algorithm. Comment below. Share your thoughts on today's episode.